Hey guys, how's it going? I'm out here riding and figuring out how to do some moto vlogs. And, you know, probably release them over the next few days or whatever. And, yeah, I figured another topic to kind of just talk with you, my followers, about is, well, the first is, you know, how the XR650R is doing. Running great. I might have to adjust the Meeker on it a little bit with the Recluse to, you know, everything's probably worn in a little. I think it just needs a little bit of a turn and just make it a little bit more grippy when I give the throttle, but it's not bad. But, you know, I had to drill out the right side foot peg, the one bolt, and God, I hate to say it, but, you know, when it's hard steel and aluminum like that, you know, I started out good, but slowly, it's amazing how slowly it just goes wonkers off to the side. So the hole was pretty crazy, and I made sure to do it slightly, like just pretty much barely, I don't know how to explain it, barely the size of the bolt, but I could get the bolt in. I kind of had to twist it and whatnot, but it wasn't really gripping. You wouldn't want to leave, just the only method, but I put a long enough grade 12.9, 10 mil, 1.5 pitch, which is not what the standard thread pitch is. It's a 10 mil 1.25, but they don't have those in your local hardware store. They have, I guess the common one would be 1.5 at that point. I didn't want to order from McMaster again a bunch of bolts, which took me forever to ever use. I never thought I would use them. I even gave some away. I think I gave some to my brother-in-law at one point. But yeah, so I made got a long enough 10 mil to put in all the way through, but it's wonky. So I'm hoping the frame holds, but by looking how the frame and the engine sit in there, the frame should be good. I would, unless I took like a huge jump in my body weight, then that might be slightly a weak point. I don't think it would be a total failure just due to the engine being in the frame and being a stress member and being where everything bolts together. I think I'm okay there. So minus is that it's in there slightly crooked, but I did put a bolt on the other side of it, a locking nut, and so that won't vibrate off. But I guess if it does break, the good side is I did buy an extra nut and bolt. You know, always buy in pairs, at least when I buy this stuff. So I do have an extra bolt. So I guess eventually if this one does break because of me riding this bike, and that's what I contribute it to, is I'm riding this bike a lot harder than I used to ride it, right? As I've progressed in my riding capability, I mean, right now I'm just riding because I'm slow, because I'm talking to you guys. It's a lot harder to concentrate riding and talking when you're riding really fast. But when I'm riding the more enduro type terrain on a big bike, you know, it's putting a lot of stress on components that we're not really made for that, A, in the first place, and B, yeah, not really made for that in the first place, and B, just not the best of design, really. I mean, especially for a foot peg, you know. Now, what they should have done, honestly, and why there's never an issue with the left side, which I didn't know how that all fit together, but the left side foot peg is huge, when you pull out it's like an insert. When you pull out the insert that the foot peg actually attaches to, it's this huge big steel thing. I mean, it's never going to break. You know, if anything, you could say it's over-engineered, but I prefer over-engineer. And, I mean, a bolt holds it in there, and then another bolt on the outside, which was broke on the left side, kind of twisted, but that's all it was going to do, slightly twist. It wasn't going to ever break off. And it was hard to get out, too, because it had been in there forever, so a little corrosion on it. Woohoo, really washed out. A lot of corrosion on it, so it was hard to get that out of there. Whoa! Whoa! Front tire wanted to slide. That was almost a down. But yeah, so I had to beat it out. That was hard to do. But its bolt was all fine. I mean, there's no stress on that bolt. It strictly just holds it in there. So they really should have, on the XR650R, made the foot peg attach just like that. When they were designing the bike, they should have figured that out at the time, if you will. Like, maybe we should make these match so it's good, instead of being a totally different type system on the right side, which is two M8 bolts or M10 bolts. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. And of course, the stock ones were a lot softer, so people have had it completely fail. Now, you know, I continually rode that day on just one bolt holding it in. And I guess the skid plate helped because it was resting on the skid plate, and with it resting on the skid plate, you know, it was like a platform that was, god dang it. I failed today coming down this. Worst line I've ever taken. I'm just using the front brake, have my rudders out, just because it's so loosey-goosey. Okay, up this hill. So yeah, you know, the foot peg, so I hope it works out good. I hope I have no issues. As far as the rest of the bike, I mean, I think it's running pretty good. This IMS tank, 7 gallons. Well, a little update on that is, after putting in all the valves and stuff so I could turn off different wings and what have you, it's a pretty nice tank. It protects the radiator really good. And so if I fall, the radiator's pretty well protected. I also used the Cherokee. It's not made by Cherokee, but it was designed for the 6.5 gallon tank. And it's a tank brace. And I have that on here too, so it does fit on. If Handaka guy, I think it is, an ADV rider, put in Cherbis tank brace, and you'll be able, it'll bring it up on Google. I think I did a review too, so. But yeah, it works on this tank, so that adds some rigidity to the bottom, even though the big, thick, walled fins of this tank going around the radiators, they're not going to bend much. But you do feel the slosh. When you're on the harder trails, single track, and rocks are tossing you like that, you know, you're going every which way, you do feel the slosh in the tank when it's the lower it gets. Now you could combat that by having tank foam. So the tank foam, what it does is it reduces that. It reduces that slosh. But it also uses up some of your capacity, obviously. I think racers use it more than anything. I don't know anyone that actually uses it in their dual sport bike. Man, the rain's really washed this trail out. Worse and worse. So tank foam could cure that. But I like the tank. I mean, you get used to it. And it's a big tank. Of course, you don't have to fill it for every outing. I didn't fill it today. Sometimes crossing back and forth through a wash like that actually easier because it's not as steep. You get more traction. Of course, you have to understand how it works as you're crossing the ravine. The Trail Tech headlight has worked out really good on this bike, so that's been really nice. The HID, it's great, awesome for nighttime. The highway dirt bike guards on this bike have been awesome, no issue. Had them on a long time now, many drops. Never an issue, love them. Only lost one mirror on the right side, never bothered to replace it, but yeah, good stuff. The IMS foot pegs, these are the second set for this bike. They have been really nice. Really grippy. I like them. Some people say they like to file down the teeth because it wears out their boots. You can do that if you think they're too pokey. Honestly, I don't think they're too hard on my boots, and they do wear down anyways by themselves. Doesn't take too long if you ride a lot. Again, that might be more of a racer being on them and like riding really, really to the max, you know, being a lot more aggressive when they go out than I am. Like, I'm not pushing down on my boots right now, you know, I'm not standing, so it's not gonna really hurt them. There's not much pressure until I go stand, and then I'm not moving them around when I stand. They're dug in and they're in the spot. I mean, sometimes you have to move your foot around, but not always. The IMS shift lever, my other video, you saw that I just bent it back out. See, I did what anyone else would do. Yeah, I could ask him for a new shift lever, but you know, I'd like to try products, even if I get them free, sponsored with them, and just see, I mean, because that's what you would do, you'd bend it out. So I bent it and bend the tab on the end, and I got everything looking pretty straight. So that's good to go. So it's been the second time that's needed to be bent out. First time was a simple bend out. The second time has been, you know, need to bend out. I need to hammer on the tab a little to make the part that catches your toe, your shoe, you know, be, you know, straight versus it was bent like outwards itself. So that's why I kind of bent a little tab on the end and forces it to be straight. And yeah, you know, I just like doing that because that's how anyone that would buy it would need to do, right? You're not going to go drop more money until that thing completely snaps, and even then you might go get it welded, right? So it's nice testing products where I will actually test it like anyone else would be using it. Otherwise, I like it. I mean, it is steel, so if I was in Moab and it, for some reason completely snapped or whatever, yeah, I could take it and probably pay $20 and have it re-welded, or probably $5 at some of the shops, you know. I mean, because that's a real quick job for somebody. That's like, we're talking about like 5-minute job. Well, yeah, so it'd probably be like $20, and it would be like easy money for a shop. It's like, there's lunch money. Trying to think what else on the bike. The Warp 9 rims have been awesome. They've worked great too. No issues. Nice and beefy. The tubeless, like I've always had with them, have been great. No issue. I just don't know if I just install them correctly or I take care of them good. When I do tire changes and I clean the right carcass and I clean out the inside really well, and you know, I hose everything down with WD-40 or silicone spray or lots of baby powder even, depending on whatever I grab off the shelf. And I think that's probably part of people. They think they're probably maintaining it well. You know, I checked the air pressure, like before I left. It was down to 80 for each high pressure, so I pumped it up to the 110, which is what they used to recommend. I think now they just say 100, but you know, I've ridden with it at the 80 spot. Of course, I wasn't out there like pounding stuff, but you know, it's worked. Usually at a event, or when I go, you know, haul this bike somewhere and I go a ride, I check it at least once. If it's a whole week, I might check it twice. So it's not really difficult to check. You buy, and the other thing is, I think people are relying on cheap pumps too to pump up. So they might be underinflating or grossly overinflating, and that might be the reason why they've changed it from 110 to 100 to give a little grace there, because people have probably been using cheap pumps. You know, you go to Walmart, you buy a pump that says it'll do high pressure, and yeah, it might, but it seems like it struggles, and then the gauge on it is like wonkers. I've never found one that was spot on until I went and bought my, I don't know how to say the name, Lynn's at a bicycle shop. I actually trust the gauge. It's just, I mean, overall the floor pumps are much nicer. I mean, I did spend like $100 on it at a local bike shop, and I think you can get them on Amazon though for $80. So, you know, it is what it is. I supported a local business, that's okay. If I had to buy another one, I'd probably buy it on Amazon though. I didn't know what to buy. I just walked in there and I was like, you know, hey, I need a floor pump. What do you got? Oh, we got the Specialized one. Yeah, that's what my brother-in-law has. Yeah, it's okay. What else? Oh, I like this metal one. What's that one about? You know, it's like just how it's made. You can tell. I told the guy, I'm like, yeah, it's expensive, but if this pump lasts me a lifetime, like pumps used to last, then it's well worth it. Of course, he agreed because he works in the store. But no, I mean, there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, if it lasts me 20 years, then the $100 was nothing. If it lasts me through all my riding, then it was a good purchase. And I carry the same brand, little one, that does high pressure in my flight vest. Well, my Climb Arsenal vest, to be exact. But yeah, it works great. And I've only ever had to use it not on mine. I've always had to use it on other people's on normal tubes. So I've tried it on the high pressure and it works. Of course, I mean, it's like anything. High pressure, that's a lot of pressure. Yeah, you can do it. Do you want to do it? No. But at least the bladders are smaller, so it's not like you're pumping as much. Versus when you do a tire, yeah, there's a little bit of pumping involved, but it works great. I think you can buy 2-stage ones where it fills air on both directions, which would be better for just a normal tube tire setup. Because it pushes air in as you push and pull the plunger, for lack of knowing what the word would be, in and out of the pump. So guys, hopefully this just kind of gave you some insight to what I use, what I'm liking, what's worked, what have you, and why I use it. So, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and check out my other videos. Have a good one.